You already know it's a Pyrite Town Punks production.
Hello, trainers! Alright, now that we've loaded Team Preview, we have our battle between our two finalists, Nnico Iosi and Lhions. On Nnico's side, we have Gyarados, Latias, Marowak, Tauros, Metagross, and Starmie. On Lhions' side, we see a similar Lightning Rod team involving Marowak, Latias, Suicune this time, Metagross, Zapdos, and Snorlax. Immediately, we see both players have brought a powerful Marowak, which threatens high-powered Earthquakes or Bonemerangs, and having the useful Lightning Rod ability is supporting their various Water-type partners. Nnico running Gyarados Marowak, a strong and tried-and-true Generation 3 doubles combo, and also supporting Starmie, a favorite of Nnico's, very fast, able to hit first and clean up especially against Ice Weak Pokemon such as Latias and Zapdos. To fill up the remaining slots, Tauros pairs well with Latias and Gyarados, threatening Choice Band attacks and intimidating, and there's Metagross. On Lion's side, we have Marowak and Suicune, a very powerful combo, and the standard meta Lati Zapcore and Snorlax. So just the basic 4 Pokemon of balance and Marowak Suicune combo. We start the battle turn 1 with Gyarados Latias on Nnico's side and Snorlax Zapdos on Lion's side. And immediately, Lhions already has good pressure against the Zapdos, threatening a 1-hit KO with Thunderbolt. However, Lhions has to be wary of the Marowak. Nnico goes for Protect, seeming to scout for possible Thunderbolts, and gets some good damage on the Zapdos, who uses Substitute to position itself better against possible Marowak switch-ins, and against Gyarados, who usually doesn't carry coverage against the Zapdos, and Snorlax, in turn, intimidated, not dealing much damage, where their turn actually deals no damage on turn 1 because of the Protect. We have turn 1 finished, and we can see that Lhions is in a nice position with the Substitute against the Gyarados, but is slightly down on HP. When turn 2 begins, Nnico switches out to intimidate that Snorlax again, switching into Tauros. Latias Dragon Claws into a protecting Zapdos, and Lhions going for the self-destruct, taking out both Tauros and Latias. Despite being at -2, Snorlax shows just how powerful self-destruct and explosion are in Generation 3, just wiping out a Latias, again, even at -2. The remaining 2 Pokemon on Nnico's team are confirmed to be Gyarados and the Marowak, and Lhions has the Substitute still, is up a Pokemon, and has Suicune threatening Hydro Pump against the Marowak. The position looks really... There are dogs here in Southeast Asia. They too are very... into a different, difficult position, where the Marowak is simply threatened. The hidden power goes into the Gyarados, and the Hydro Pump misses. Gyarados gets a boost with Dragon Dance. Hydro Pump missing, leaving Marowak to Earthquake, dealing 48%, not enough for a 2-hit KO. So even if this Marowak can dodge another Hydro Pump, it still may not KO the Suicune, especially due to leftovers. And of course, this Gyarados, with the Dragon Dance, is very threatening in general, but has to, depending on its moveset, it may not even be able to hit the Zapdos behind the Substitute. We'll see how Nnico can adjust to any possible moves that Lion has. How do I tell these dogs to stop barking? Oh no. Honestly, I think Lhions is in a prime position with this Substitute Zapdos and being up a Pokemon. Really, Nnico's best option is just hope for another Hydro Pump miss, and maybe set up another Dragon Dance or hit into the Suicune and get a critical hit. Nnico also threatening a Protect with the Marowak and then hitting into Suicune twice. So long as Marowak's on the field, Zapdos simply will not be able to do much damage into the Gyarados. We have Protect from both sides, and we have a Hidden Power into the Marowak from the Zapdos. The position is roughly the same as it was the turn before, both players burning a Protect, and Marowak going for another Protect whilst trying to stall for the Suicune. And between Hidden Power and Ice Beam, the Marowak went down. Nnico did not get the second Protect, the 50% chance. And with Nnico saying GG in the chat, it seems that Nnico Iosi is probably going to lose Game 1. And with that Thunderbolt, we have Game 1 going to Lhions. Excellent play from both sides. And really, I think the turning point of this battle was the self-destruct KOing the Latias in spite of being at -2 from 2 Intimidates. Lhions just showing how powerful Self-Destruct and Explosion are as moves. We're going to be going into Game 2. And just looking up at the matchup in terms of Game 2, Nnico has to respect the Self-Destruct. It just blows through Tauros. Maybe Nnico adjusts and brings Metagross Game 2. He didn't bring Metagross Game 1, and it's an excellent check into the Snorlax. We also didn't get to see what Lhions would brought as the 4th Pokemon, since Lhios brought Zapdos, Snorlax, Suicune, and an unknown Pokemon. Perhaps that was a Marowak in order to check possible Metagrosses. We will see how both players will adjust their leads in spite of this new information. In terms of information, Hidden Power was revealed from the Gyarados, and judging by the relatively high damage it did against the Suicune, 46% against a Suicune, is probably Stab, Hidden Power Flying, Gyarados. And Marowak also dealing a decent amount of damage with the Suicune. It didn't get the 2-hit KO, so possibly Lhions has high bulk, or Nnico just choosing not to run high attack investment on his Marowak. Only both players would know what this EV investment is, and we'll have to see to find out. Other information, the Tauros didn't really reveal anything. The Latias dealing some damage with the Dragon Claw. On Lion's side, we have Leftovers Hydro Pump Ice Beam, and that Ice Beam dealing a good chunk of damage, actually dealing more than 50% to the Marowak, so not even needing the Hydro Pump to get the 2-hit KO. The Snorlax using both Return and Self-Destruct indicates it is not Choice Band, it is possibly another item such as White Herb, Quick Claw, or even Silk Scarf. And the Zapdos Standard, Substitute, and Hidden Power, either Ice or Grass. We have Game 2 starting, and Nnico leads with Latias and Metagross versus Latias and Metagross, and we have the Orre handshake. Nnico going immediately for turn 1 Swagger, a Reflect coming from Lhions, and Earthquake coming out, dealing 80%, and Metagross returning in turn with its own critical hit, Earthquake. Ouch. So Lhions using the Reflect to tank a +2 Metagross Earthquake, which normally 1-hit KOs all other Metagross. And in turn, the critical hit Earthquake KOs Nnico's Metagross, who almost certainly should survive normal Metagross. Just based off the HP numbers, we can take a guess at their investments. Lhions has 322 HP on the Metagross, Nnico has 302. We can assume that Nnico is running max speed, max attack, 4 HP Metagross, and Lhions running a little bit of bulk. Even if it's Adamant, 252 attack, Metagross cannot 1-hit KO another Metagross without a critical hit, so Lhions getting very lucky. Nnico returns with the Hydro Pump from the Starmie, gets the KO onto Metagross, which did not protect, and we trade Dragon Claws between both players. It's now 3-3 in terms of Pokemon, and Lhions bringing in the Suicune, very bulky and threatening an Ice Beam on the Latias. It might KO or it might not, depending on investment from both players. And of course, Starmie sitting there threatening an Ice Beam against a Latias that may or may not KO, depending on the investment. Usually Latias, if invested properly, can take 49 at most, 49% from a Starbeam, from an Ice Beam from Starmie. So we'll just have to see how both players have trained. Though it doesn't look very good on Nnico's side, for Lhions has max HP Latias as indicated by the HP number that is prevalent in Colosseum. And we see double Protect from both Latias, both afraid of the Dragon Claw, and Nnico reading a Protect possibly from Latias and just going for Psychic. A critical hit in turn, dealing 64% to the Suicune, Suicune being absolutely bulky. And it just clicks Calm Mind. And now the Suicune should be able to tank another 2 Psychic, maybe, or maybe even a Psychic plus a Dragon Claw, possibly. And Nnico having 2 special attackers on the field really is going to have difficulty breaking through the Suicune. On the flip side, Lhions with the Suicune is unable to threaten meaningful damage against the Starmie. Possibly can KO the Latias with the Ice Beam, but it's down to what players choose right now. We have an Ice Beam from the Starmie getting a freeze that doesn't matter because Nnico wins the speed tie in Dragon Claws anyway, doubling into the Pokemon that just clicked Protect, and Lhions not even caring about this. Latias is just clicking Calm Mind again. With the Reflect having one more turn, Nnico has a chance to bring a physical Pokemon to take out the Suicune in the back, whether it's Tauros or Gyarados or Marowak. And on Lion's side, there is a Zapdos threatening that Starmie. Furthermore, Lhions has the possibility of clicking Detect, of protecting the Zapdos from a possible Ice Beam Dragon Claw, which may KO depending on investment, and then simply getting a KO back with Suicune. So it is a very pivotal turn for both players. Will the Zapdos Protect? Will it not? Will this Latias hit into the Zapdos and double in, or will there be a double into Suicune? Will Nnico, who revealed Swagger, just click Swagger in the funny button and make the Suicune fairly useless? We don't know. A difficult turn, and with Lhions down 1 Pokemon, Nnico does have the advantage and flexibility of possible physical on the back, but we'll have to see which one it is. This Suicune looking very scary though. Starmie protecting, and Latias revealing Thunderbolt. Zapdos going for a Thunderbolt of its own into the protecting Starmie, and Ice Beam taking out the Latias. With that, Latias has revealed its 4th move. It's Dragon Claw, Swagger, Protect, and Thunderbolt. Nnico is not running any screens, is not running other Icy Wind or Thunder Wave as speed control, just going for Thunderbolt in order to threaten things such as Starmie and Gyarados and Metagross and Suicune. Nnico bringing in his last Pokemon. It is a Tauros, and it threatens a KO on the Suicune this very turn. And it may, if it has Hyper Beam, it can also win a KO the Zapdos. Lhions now in a difficult position, having to decide whether to protect the Suicune or not from Tauros. Suicune does go for the Protect, and Starmie goes for an Ice Beam into the Zapdos, freezes it, return hits into the Suicune, and Zapdos is frozen. That Trainers is probably going to be Game 2. With a freeze, the Zapdos is unable to KO the Starmie, and the Tauros is simply going to run through Lion's team. Ice Beam getting a KO, and Return getting a KO on Suicune, meaning Game 2 goes to Nnico Iosi. Even if it weren't for that freeze, let's say the Zapdos got to move and click Thunderbolt and KOing the Starmie, the Tauros can still take out the Suicune in 1 hit and the Zapdos in 1 hit, which would mean that very next turn, if it were Tauros versus Suicune and Zapdos, would really come to Lhions trying to decide whether to protect the Suicune or not, 50-50, or protect the Zapdos or not, mental 50-50 versus literal 50-50. We've got our Game 3 coming up, and both players again have to look at the information they've gathered from Game 2 and from Game 1. Nnico knows that the Ice Beam from the Starmie will be at least 3 hits into the to take out the Latias on Lion's side. Lhions, meanwhile, knows that the Starmie has no speed control, has no way to slow down opposing Latias or even the Zapdos, so that way Metagross can go first, but has to be wary of Thunderbolt, dealing a good chunk of damage into the Suicune. Lhions might prepare by bringing Marowak this game in order to prepare for the Thunderbolt Latias, and or may even bring Snorlax, which proved pivotal in Game 1 with a self-destruct. Notably, in both games, neither player... Okay, actually that's a lie. Lions brought Metagross, but I was about to say, I don't see Metagross being used by Nnico at all. And Nnico brought Metagross. Okay, so I take that back. I clearly haven't been paying enough attention. Metagross coming in Game 2 for both players, but not in Game 1. And Metagross is very useful for Nnico in the matchup against Snorlax and Latias, and likewise, Lions has the advantage of using Metagross to just beat into the Latias, and if the Metagross has Explosion, to take out the Tauros. We have Game 3 beginning between Starmie and Tauros versus Latias Zapdos. Both players opting not to go for their Metagross Latias leads that they saw in Game 2, so we're seeing yet another lead, and instead going for on Lion's side, a very specially oriented Latias Zapdos lead, which is safe against Earthquake and Marowak. And on Nnico's side, just going for a very fast offensive mode with Starmie and Tauros. Zapdos is threatening the KO on the Starmie, so despite Starmie having the cleanup potential of Ice Beam, has to fear the Thunderbolt. Starmie instead going for a Protect, Latias going for a Protect, Zapdos going for a Protect, and Tauros going for a Return. In this position, Lions using 2 Protects, scouting to see what move Tauros may be using, whether it's going to be Earthquake or not, or Double Edge or Return. And now in this position, Nnico has the possibility of going for Ice Beam plus Return and just taking out a Latias or Zapdos. Starmie going for a Hydro Pump to cover a possible Metagross switch-in. Surprisingly, Lions does not go for a Metagross switch-in, and Lions, losing the Speed Tie, does not get the crucial Reflect, which may have helped Zapdos survive, though between Hydro Pump dealing 56%, I doubt the Return was survivable, even with Reflect. And Lions bringing in the Snorlax, threatening self-destruct. A common play in Orre is to simply explode or self-destruct in front of Tauros every single time, because players know that Tauros always carries Choice Band almost without fail. It's been used without Choice Band, I think, once in the past 6 months, and it didn't work so well. So Lions can do that, but that would be a move that would take a player who's down a few in material and then further go down. Lions instead going for a safer Dragon Claw plus Return. It works out very well. It may have been calling the Protect, or may have just simply been doubling into a Pokemon that has no ability to Protect, but Nnico gains no positional advantage, really. Maybe a possible Intimidate layer, but takes a critical hit Dragon Claw with 41% and a Return at 23.5. At this position now, Nnico does not have the threat, a guaranteed threat of Protect Explosion, because it could fail on the Starmie. And due to the Reflex, Snorlax should be able to take 3, if not 4, Meteor Mashes, and the Latias too might even be able to take an Ice Beam plus Meteor Mash, depending on, I believe Latias with max HP should be able to take that. So Lions, despite being down a Pokemon, is in a really good position because of that Reflect. Metagross almost made useless because of it, or should I say inconsequential. Of course, Nnico can be extremely gutsy and click Protect 50% and then Explode, which possibly will KO Latias and Snorlax depending on EVs. We'll have to see. Taking the critical hit was a big deal, though. Normally Metagross should be able to just take a lot more hits from Latias and Snorlax, but now Dragon Claw and a Return now actually threaten a KO onto this Metagross, which normally Walvies do. So, Nnico having to decide what to do with the Metagross, what to do with the Starmie. The Starmie is now open to a Return plus support move from Latias, though I believe Latias has not revealed its 4th move, its support with Reflect Dragon Claw. So who knows, maybe the Latias has Thunderbolt, or Thunder Wave, to threaten the Starmie. Both players taking their time, just reviewing the HP numbers. Oh, actually, battle begins. Metagross, the turn begins. We have Protect from both sides, and the Starmie going for an Ice Beam, not dealing that much into the protecting Latias, and Snorlax going for the safe Earthquake, notably dealing less than 50% to the Starmie. And in this position now, the Metagross gets survived because of the Protect, and actually, Nnico is in a position, is now threatening a Protect plus Explosion, which, depending on bulk, may be able to KO the Latias and the Snorlax. I don't know my calcs exactly, but it's a max HP Latias. It might survive against Jolly Metagross. Snorlax, notably, has 524 HP, which indicates 252 HP investment, rather than going max defense. It is also possible the Snorlax simply doesn't have any offensive investment, but the max HP is telling. Starmie going for a Protect, Snorlax going for a Protect. We have a Dragon Claw from the Latias, and Nnico just going for the Explosion. And it, despite of the Reflect and despite max HP Latias, it does take out the Latias. I need to double check the calc on that, but I remember in my top 8 match versus Lhions, my Explosion failed to KO Latias through Reflect, so it's possible it's just a roll. Lhions, of course, going for a very safe Protect to guard that Snorlax, and we have a 3v2. It's the Snorlax and one more Pokemon versus a Tauros and an unrevealed Pokemon on Nnico's side. I think just the Tauros in this game proved very pivotal in turn 1 in just eliminating an entire Pokemon. Lhions had no beneficial advantage from having a Zapdos after turn 1 because it just got KO'd immediately after. There's no switch to Metagross. Just 2 hits into Zapdos, it gets KO'd, and all that was obtained in return was a Reflect that didn't even didn't even save the Latias. Okay, we have a switch-in Latias, 4th Pokemon revealed on Nnico's side, the one with Swagger and Thunderbolt, and Lhions revealing Metagross. Now, despite being down a Pokemon, Metagross and Snorlax as the last 2 Pokemon are very scary because of their high bulk, because of their threat of self-destruct or explosion, and especially with this Reflect. We have 2 Protects coming from both sides, and Lhions just going for a return, taking out the Starmie, and the Metagross protecting to get against any possible, against any possible Hydro Pump. And with that, we have Tauros revealed, and now Lhions is just in a very safe position, both having just protected the Metagross. Lhions can now just protect the Snorlax, click Explosion, remove the Tauros guaranteed for free, and Latias cannot beat the Snorlax. That is Lhions' safest move. There is the only counterplay to that is probably Earthquake plus Swagger, calling the Protect plus Metagross, and even then, if Metagross has Lumberry, Swagger is not going to help against it. Alternatively, Nnico can just crit Earthquake and take out the Metagross. And that assumes, of course, that Snorlax protects and Metagross explodes. Neither Pokemon can explode, and there's also the possibility of simply just clicking Meteor Mash, return into the Tauros, taking out 2. Lhions going for a Protect, Nnico going for a Thunderbolt, and an Earthquake from this Tauros, and it gets a super effective hit. Thunderbolt showing its value. If that was a Dragon Claw, Metagross probably would not have, may have survived and be to explode. But in this case, Thunderbolt being very useful on the Latias. Now, Lhions is saying GG, and is admitting the game is probably over. Snorlax can, of course, critical hit like 2 or 3 returns moving forward, but we'll have to see. Snorlax just going for a Protect, possibly to scout information, just to confirm, but just from the damage rolls, it's almost guaranteed, and just knowing prior knowledge, it's almost guaranteed that this Tauros is Choice Band, dealing 41% from Earthquake and 22, and Snorlax going for Self-Destruct as a forfeit button, and Nnico Iosi winning Game 3 is now on... And Lhions questioning if we have self-destruct clause. We do have self-destruct clause in Orre, as is the case in basically every VGC format. So Lhions having gone for the self-destruct, possibly with the intention of trying to tie Game 3, but we do have self-destruct clause, so the Game 3 will go for Nnico. And we're looking at a Game 4, both players, again, having to make the difficult decision which 4 Pokemon to bring. In terms of new information learned by both players, the 4th move on the Snorlax has been revealed, it's Earthquake. And furthermore, this Snorlax has never moved first against any of the other Pokemon on its entire time, so it's not confirmed, but it's a high likelihood it does not have a Quick Claw. It might be Silk Scarf, or and it is not White Herb either, so it is likely Silk Scarf or possibly Lumberry. The Zapdos, interestingly, showing Protect instead of Detect, and Latias still hasn't revealed its 4th move on Lion's side. In fact, Metagross also not having shown any moves. And then, of course, on Nnico's side, we know it is a Swagger Thunderbolt Latias, and we know it's Choice Band Tauros. We understand that it is a Lum Metagross, a Starmie that hasn't revealed its 4th move, and both players leading, again, with very safe leads. We have Metalati from Nnico's side going for the possible Swagger into Metagross, Lum, Berry, and just Meteor mashing things, and Lion's going for a very safe, previously not so common, but a lead I very much like nowadays, Zapdos Snorlax. Zapdos having the positive matchup versus Metagross, and which is a big problem for Snorlax normally, and Snorlax threatening Latias. We have a Protect from the Snorlax, we have a Swagger turn 1 against the Zapdos, and Metagross just goes Meteor Mash on the Snorlax. Nnico up a game, needing one more win in order to win the set, just clicking Swagger so that way Metagross has more turns, and it pays off. We have a Snorlax switch out, Nnico switching out, and we have a Thunderbolt Paralysis, and going for the Explosion to take out the Zapdos and chunk the Metagross. Nnico knowing that it's probably a safe move because Snorlax just protected, and unless there's a Quick Claw, there's no way this, or a critical hit, there's no way this Zapdos and Snorlax is going to be able to take out the Metagross. Nnico getting a really good trade. And now Lhions with strong Pokemon bringing in Snorlax again is still threatening a possible Protect on Metagross and Self-Destruct with Snorlax to take out the Tauros guaranteed. Nnico just protected the Latias, so even if Nnico is calling the Self-Destruct and Protect on Metagross, we have only a 50-50% chance with Latias. Self-Destruct and Explosion showing why they are the most metagame defining moves in all of Orre Coliseum, and what sets apart Generation 3 doubles from any other format generation, and specifically from other VGC formats. Despite Lhions being down about a mon and a half in terms of Metagross HP, it doesn't matter. Lhions has a self-destruct button on the field against a just protected Latias. And the Tauros cannot protect, so Nnico cannot stagger the protects. Ultimately, this is going to be a difficult turn. Latias calling the Explosion does not get the self-destruct. We have an Earthquake just to cover Metagross not protecting, and Snorlax goes for the self-destruct. Nnico simply not winning the 50-50 coin flip with Protect on Latias, and Lhions capitalizing on it. We have one Starmie versus Metagross, and I have to say this is probably game. Even if Starmie can take out Metagross, this turn Suicune will just click Calm Mind about 5 times and then Ice Beam the Starmie. Especially with leftovers and Protect, there is very little chance for the Starmie to break through this Suicune. Perhaps Starmie has Thunderbolt, or perhaps... oh, it has Psychic, which was already revealed, so yes, Nnico just needs to critical hit all the Psychic, or just get a freeze with Ice Beam. And we just see Lhions clicking Calm Mind. It's the safest move. Even though special defense drop, Lhions can get another special defense. There's no set of possibilities for Starmie, so Lhions can just click Protect every other turn. This is basically game unless Nnico gets 3 critical hit Psychics in a row. We have Protect or an Ice Beam freeze. We have Nnico just clicking moves because the odds are not 0, but they are very, very close to 0. And we're going to be going into Game 5 most likely. Hydro Pump at +2, not very effective, dealing 70%. Very exciting set. We're going to a Game 5 of this set. And as both players have basically all the knowledge they can want of their opponent's moves and of their items, we notice a trend where neither player has brought Marowak after Game 1. So, actually, that's very interesting. Both players, instead of relying on Latias modes and various Pokemon to assist in order to win. And we're going into our final game to determine the winner of Mount Battle 3. All is on the line. There's $25 for the loser and $50 for the winner. So on the line is $25, and more importantly, the pride of being the third Mount Battle champion. Excellent play from both sides for all 4 games, and we're going into the 5th game to see how these players may make their final adjustments based on their opponent's knowledge. Truly, though, I believe the Thunderbolt tech from Nnico, it has paid off a lot. And on the flip side, Lhions just having such power with that Suicune, even without the Marowak on the field, Lhions has the advantage of not having a Zapdos on Nnico's side. So Lhions can safely just bring Suicune without Marowak, click Calm Mind, and wall the Latias and the Starmie. And the counterplay, and KOing the Marowak, really the only counterplay is Tauros. Possibly Gyarados, but there is a Zapdos to be wary of. In terms of other interesting revealed moves and items, we haven't seen the Snorlax item, but I would take bets on it being Silk Scarf, seeing that Lhions used it against me in top 8 in order to deal slightly more damage, allowing for more investment into bulk. Now the leftovers, Suicune simply being very powerful. I think one of the most interesting interactions between both players is that Tauros is very, very important for Nnico for the Suicune matchup, but on the flip side, it's very vulnerable to just Metagross Snorlax. I think, based on prior games, Lhions has a good reason to run Metalax again, having used it in games 3 and 4. It's just a very good way to check this Tauros. Just boom on it. So both players taking quite a while for picking their selection of 4, understandably, seeing how pivotal this Game 5 is. And I don't fault them, but I just want to say that both players have played fantastic games so far, all 4 games. And throughout the tournament, watching all of the various sets, both players have been very creative with their team building. And again, looking at this finals, yes, Lhions may be using Metalati Zaplax, but the final 2, Marowak Suicune, is something that hasn't been explored so much, has seen some use in the metagame, and having shown its effectiveness both in top 8 against me and here in this finals match against Nnico, I think we might see more Marowak Suicune, especially because Suicune is an alternative teammate for Marowak that benefits from the Lightning Rod that isn't Gyarados. Whereas Gyarados is walled by Zapdos, Suicune actually has good typing hits against a lot of other Pokemon, including Zapdos. And we're going into Game 5, the final game to determine our tournament winner. We have Latias Tauros versus Metagross Zapdos, and because we've seen in a prior game the Earthquake and the Thunderbolt KOs the Metagross, Lhions cannot go for the safe Detect or Protect Explosion that is commonly used against Choice Band Tauros. Lhions has to respect Earthquake from Tauros. And in addition, Latias with Dragon Claw and Return from, or Double Edge from Tauros also takes out the Zapdos. Nnico's just threatening with 2 higher speed Pokemon against 2 slower Pokemon. Lhions having a typing advantage, but oh, the speed's going to matter. Metagross calling, Lhions calling the Earthquake protects against Thunderbolt Earthquake, and now we have a Zapdos Thunderbolting the Tauros for 89%. And now this Tauros is locked into Earthquake. Lhions can very easily just switch Metagross into Latias in the back, if he has it, and then the Tauros is completely useless. And then just go for a Thunderbolt and then remove the Tauros. It can't hurt the Zapdos this turn. Nnico, in terms of options, also has the possibility of just switching Tauros to, say, Marowak. Because the other three Pokemon, two of them are weak to Thunderbolt, and a Metagross doesn't like taking Thunderbolt, still has the Marowak threat, and can just swagger with Latias or deal damage against the Dragon Claw of the Metagross. Right now, I think Lhions is in a great position, having read the turn 1 Earthquake Thunderbolt. Possibly because of Nnico being afraid of this explosion. And now, depending on what's in the back in Nnico's side, either there's a Marowak and it saves the team, or Zapdos starts running through the team like a hot knife through butter, one-hit KOing Starmie, or one-hit KOing the Gyarados, or dealing 60%, 70% to Metagross. It's a really difficult turn for Nnico, and Lhions just capitalizing from that safe Protect. We'll have to see what each player decides, but Lhions has taken 0 damage and has almost taken a Mon. This is a very safe turn. Lhions instead opting to switch to Snorlax, not Latias, and Nnico just going for Swagger. Or slot. And now Nnico, down a Pokemon, has to deal with a Snorlax threatening self-destruct, instead opting for Metagross. Now the very scary thing about Swagger is that Lhions has I forget what the odds are of breaking out, but close to 50% odds on Protect, so it's not even a safe move to click Protect self-destruct just to damage the Latias. Furthermore, the Latias did not Protect, so Latias can Protect as well. So Nnico being down a Pokemon is not necessarily in a terrible position, is not being threatened by guaranteed self-destructs and explosions, and has this Metagross in the field, being threatened of course by these Zapdos, but this Metagross can just as easily Meteor Mash into Snorlax and then Dragon Claw, and then with just one lucky confusion is needed, and suddenly the Zapdos is not doing anything, and the Metagross is just taking out Lhions' team. And as we say in VGC, if there's a Swagger, there's a way. There's also the really funny possibility of just clicking Swagger into Snorlax. I doubt that will happen. And Latias also threatening Swagger into Metagross, and Meteor Mash just destroying Lhions' team if the Zapdos gets confused. So Lhions really doesn't have a safe move and just needs to hope the Zapdos can move, can click Substitute or Thunderbolt into Metagross, and just has to hope for luck. That's what this turn seems to be. Lhions having the material advantage could just start clicking moves, and then even if losing a Pokemon is not the worst thing in the world, like losing a Snorlax. In this case, Lhions goes to switch to Metagross, Nnico Dragon Claws the Zapdos, and Zapdos doesn't get confused, does not hit itself, which would probably be relevant for a Dragon Claw, and Thunderbolts into the Metagross. And now Lhions, losing some HP, still has a confused Zapdos, which is not a guaranteed Protect. Again, still not safely able to click Explosion. One of the great benefits of Swagger is to shut down guaranteed boom strats. And Nnico can just click Swagger plus Earthquake to take out the Metagross if it doesn't Protect. And the Zapdos, again, only having a 50% chance to even move, to even Protect, or to even Thunderbolt. But if Nnico goes for the 90% chance of it working, can just Swagger Earthquake take out the Metagross, or even if it doesn't work, has a 50% chance of not getting hit by Thunderbolt, which means can just click Earthquake the next turn again anyway. This entire set might just be coming down to Swagger. Crazy move that has been relevant since the very beginning of Orre Coliseum. Swagger plus Thunderwave Latias is one of the very first things pioneered, and it is still working today. We have the Swagger from the Metagross, the Zapdos getting to move, and the Metagross clicking Earthquake, taking out the opposing Metagross. So Lhions now 3 for 3 of not getting confused, and bringing in the Suicune, which also threatened a KO on the Metagross with Hydro Pump. So Nnico having to decide this crucial turn, do I protect the Metagross and save it from getting possibly a Thunderbolt or Hydro Pump, or maybe will Lhions possibly Calm my Protect and Thunderbolt the Metagross and then Calm Mind in order to get a winning endgame versus Starmie or Marowak or Gyarados? We'll have to see. There is also, of course, if there's a Swagger, there's the possibility that Nnico can simply click Swagger into Suicune, get a confusion, and then next turn hope for double confusion and boom on both of them. This is a complicated turn. I want to give the advantage to Lhions, though. The Suicune simply being very difficult to check if there is no Tauros on Nico's side. There's no Zapdos on Nico's side, so this Suicune is just very threatening. Honestly, I think I might say that the game comes down to either this turn or the next turn because of how both players respond. Do we protect the Metagross? Do we... and we have a Protect from the Metagross, a Protect from the Suicune. We have a Dragon Claw calling a Protect on the Suicune and the Zapdos. Again, 4th turn in a row, not getting confused. That Swagger has done literally nothing in terms of material advantage against Lhions. And we have Zapdos protecting on the very last turn, and Suicune, and Metagross outruns the Suicune, getting a high damage Earthquake before going down to the Hydro Pump. This is very big news. Nnico could have gone for a Protect Explosion this turn, just taken out Suicune immediately, but instead does not have that. And now we have Starmie and Latias versus Suicune. We have the Thunderbolt from the Latias threatening a 2-hit KO into the Suicune. The Suicune cannot deal meaningful damage without a Calm Mind, and Nnico can always click Hydro Pump to cover a possible oh no, it's not Marowak, it's Snorlax. So Snorlax having a positive matchup against Latias and Starmie, but has already been chunked already. So the Dragon Claw plus the Hydro Pump may knock out the Snorlax once it comes in. We will have to see depending on training. And we just have a Protect from the Suicune, an Ice Beam, and we have a Thunderbolt into the Suicune with the leftovers. This is a very crucial turn because this Snorlax walls both the Starmie and the Latias, but can it win in enough turns? Because return doesn't want to KO either of them. It will take at least 4 turns in order to win here. Unless Lhions goes for a second Protect and self-destruct, literally turning the game into a 50-50. If Lhions does not go for that, we'll just have to see how the chip from Suicune can deal with it, but the Snorlax will take at least 4 turns to take down Latias and Starmie, barring critical hits. It's a big turn. This actually, I take it back, yeah. I thought it would be turn 5 and turn 6 that would be meta-defining, but game-defining, but it is this turn. What will both players do? Will Lhions risk $25 on a Protect self-destruct, or will Lhions go for the safer play of clicking return 4 times and banking on damage calculations? Similarly, who will Nnico target? Will Nnico target the Snorlax because it's the bigger threat, or will he target the Suicune because it has just protected and it would be safer? Ultimately, and also would be removing another Mon and removing the possibility of self-destruct. We will see. The Suicune going for another Protect, Hydro Pump missing the Snorlax, Thunderbolt going into the Protect, and not a self-destruct, but a return. So Lhions just trying to survive one more turn, and with a crucial Hydro Pump miss onto the Snorlax, seeing that Hydro Pump has the possibility of dealing more than 30%, that was probably the game-deciding turn. Now, Lhions is threatening again. Just clicking return into Starmie again, Ice Beam into Latias. Maybe there's a critical hit Thunderbolt to take out the Suicune, or there's a Hydro Pump plus critical hit Dragon Claw. Nnico still has speed advantage, so it's not over, but that was a huge turn with the Hydro Pump miss. With a Hydro Pump and Thunderbolt, we have an Ice Beam taking out the Starmie, and we have Return dealing 66% to the Latias after Leftover's recovery. I think it's safe to say Lhions can just click Ice Beam and Return, and the game is over. There is the only counterplay Nnico has is clicking Protect multiple times. Truly, that Hydro Pump miss was a big deal because the following turn, another Hydro Pump or even a Psychic would have taken out the Snorlax. Instead, Nnico having to click Protect, stalling another turn for Leftovers, and now Nnico probably doing damage calcs right now, trying to determine which is safer, taking a Return or taking an Ice Beam. That is the only way out for this Latias, clicking Protect, and even then that comes down to luck. So Nnico simply having to get back into the healthy range, does not get the Protect, Suicune calling the Calm Mind, and Snorlax returning. The safest move there being Calm Mind to cover a Protect, and good game for both players. You have your Mount Battle 3 champion is Lhions, winning with Metagross, Zapdos, Latias, Snorlax, Suicune, and Marowak. This is a very close set. Excellent play from both players. Some very fantastic play calls, and honestly, a lot of Game 5 I think came down to whether the Zapdos would be confused or not, and crucially, whether the Suicune could get the second Protect and the Snorlax dodging the Hydro Pump. But Lhions making very safe plays the whole time. It was fantastic to watch this set, and I congratulate both players, especially our champion Lhions. With that, possibly we can have a post-game interview with both players, if both players are not too asleep. But again, thank you to all trainers, for all of you, for watching this fantastic set to conclude Mount Battle 3. It seems that Nnico is going to be doing the part of the interview, and Lhions may join too, we'll see. But we have our grand finals, and with that, I can fill out the roster. The tournament is done. Lhions is your champion.
I'm back.
Today is March 3rd. Hello, Nnico.
What's up?
Well played game, an excellent set from you.
Yep.
And good job on your second placing in Mount Battle 3.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the commentary. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, no worries. I did realize I was basically throwing out every possible legal play, so in a way I was sort of making it easier for both of you in case you missed the play, so that's probably on my end the downside of commentary, but I think I covered everything that both players could do. I think when I'm in the commentator seat, it's a lot easier for me to notice every possible move. When I'm actually playing the game, I'm like, But as when you're spectating, it's a lot easier to like relax and see every possibility. But yeah, is Lhions going to be joining us?
Wait, let me ping him.
All right. Okay, and we have Marowak, Latias. I'm just filling out the spreadsheet. And we'll have our final stats. I will, when I have free time tomorrow, I'll make like a big Twitter post and Discord post, but for now we are going to see what the final stats are. in terms of usage. Mount Battle 3 does have the advantage of players being able to switch, so we had more creative team building.
Yep.
And with the closed team sheet, again, also more creative team building. And so it's a really good example, a showcase of like what is really possible in this metagame, more so than in Orre Camp, where players are worried about having an optimized team that can run through like 6 rounds of Swiss and the top cut. So here players can play more riskier things and things that can surprise their opponents, like Registeel. Do we have hello Lions? This Lions?
He's gonna join in 1 minute. Let me just say, he's there. All right. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Lions used so few Zapdos and Metagross pretty rarely. I was kind of, I don't know, like I prepped too much around him not bringing Zapdos, I think. Like my team basically has almost no answers. So yeah, that was a bit scary. I think my team was, I didn't really have a good matchup. I'm actually surprised I made it that close, but yeah, congratulations to Lions. Like even just that shows that just the team building and bringing different teams all the time and like switching it up and having different scary modes that you can go for kind of puts your opponent in a corner when they prep for you. And I was really like, I mean, like I had to respect the Registeel, that's for sure. And I just, I was like, man, I wanted to bring Gengar just because of Registeel, but I didn't have enough experience with Gengar, and I didn't want to like just use something that I'm not used to, you know. So I was like, okay, this Garowak team, I can put Perish Song on Marowak, and then I have a Registeel answer. So yeah, that I don't know. And then I just thought, okay, this Garowak team, it's basically the team that I used in week 1, and I just changed Snorlax for Tauros and switched some moves, but I figured I would have a good matchup into Lions' team because.
Do you hear me now or not?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now, Lions.
Because
Congratulations. I don't know why Victor isn't showing me the green circle. So.
Well. Oh, we were able to hear you. Where are you?
Yeah, it was a really interesting finals, to be honest. The Jolly Metagross nearly win me alone because Nnico never used it, so I just actually fatted for my move.
Oh, so it's like the Jolly, because did you not, so since you didn't prep for the Jolly Metagross, you used the bulkier Suicune instead of high-speed Suicune?
I think the Suicune is the DOU sample set, right?
Stuff like Hellcross or Monstros, things like that.
Sorry, what did you say?
Not really.
I hear both of you.
And Zapdos was slow too. I think that Zapdos was slow too.
The Zapdos?
Zapdos was slow.
No.
How slow?
I mean, it was close to be slow, and I just, because Nnico always brings Volkismon, I just bring, I'm gonna tell you, I mean, I think it was fast because I tabled you fast, but close. 271.
271 is your Zapdos? Lions?
That's a good speed stat.
Are you there?
Which was actually the second factor Pokemon because Latias was 262, 272, so.
Both of you are breaking up. I think it's my Wi-Fi.
All right.
Tauros and the Jolly Metagross was a problem, but I ended up winning fast to not getting confused, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, how scared were you, Lions, of the Swagger when you saw it coming out? Oh no, my Wi-Fi.
Pretty much, but in the end it was like, well, this is advanced. It's the game where you have to rely that your fast is gonna be okay. I am gonna play like I'm just gonna play like I'm not gonna get confused and hope for it.
Yeah, it worked out. It very much worked out. So You just went for the Thunderbolt, and then the Thunderbolt, and then the Thunderbolt, and then the Thunderbolt, and then you won from there. Or it was very close afterwards, and then you had to deal with the Suicune and Snorlax endgame. Honestly, Lions, what made you choose Suicune Marowak for the finals? Since you already used it in top 8, Nnico may have prepped for it. Why did you continue to use Marowak and Suicune?
Well, I think that Marowak is actually in the top 10 of the most of the tier. It's not like a meta call. I think it's just not as good as the top 4 or 5 mon, but close to that.
So it was more
after
about...
that, I don't know. I use Metagross because I never use it, and Nnico knows it.
Yes, exactly. And the Zapdos too.
You never use Metagross, you never use Zapdos.
Yeah, I didn't expect that Zapdos.
Nico's too busy worrying about Registeel.
Yes.
And Latias, I think that the support set is actually the best one in general. So I have 3 slots. For me, Snorlax is like the lazy mon. If you don't really want to actually build, you just put in there half of the meta is already covered.
Yeah. You just click reflect and then...
For the last 2, it's like I said, Marowak I think is a very good mon versus the meta. And I think that Suicune right now is better than Gyarados because everyone used to Zinzado, which made the matchup a bit awkward. I mean, it's still favorable for Gyarados, but awkward. Because Nnico tends to use a lot of special attack users, so Intimidate not that good.
Yeah. So then you just Calm Mind and then you're fine.
Which is funny because today I only used 2 special attackers, and I was really thinking like, do I really want 4 physical attackers on the team? But yeah. But yeah, I figured Intimidate would be really good against Lions.
It was like everything that I expected you didn't break it, and the other way too. So
the funny thing is, Intimidate actually felt like it looked almost like it was inconsequential because Snorlax still got to hit the KOs with self-destruct. Otherwise, there's only like 1 or 2 other turns where like it intimidates something because you can't intimidate the Metagross, and Marowak wasn't brought after game 1. Yeah. So
the plan was actually to like intimidate cycle with Tauros and Gyarados to really shut down Snorlax.
Had a really bad matchup for both of her Marowak, so.
But it just didn't. It wasn't worth it.
I also noticed, like neither of you were bringing Marowak into later games. Can you both explain why you didn't bring Marowak later?
Well, I don't know. Like it didn't do enough damage. My Marowak is not that strong.
In my case, I think that.
Sorry, you go first, Lhions.
Lhions, are you there?
Okay, well, in my case, it was slower than everything in their team, so there was little point in bringing it when it was slower and it was weak to nearly all their attacks. So I think even Gross was faster and I could kill it with the part 2 of Swagger, so it had no use.
Okay. So just it's slower and it gets KO'd, which like is an interesting contrast because Marowak seems that because of its speed has such a positive matchup versus Snorlax. But when you're not facing a Snorlax, it doesn't seem as effective. It just is too slow. And Nnico, why didn't you bring Marowak against the possible Zapdos?
Good question. It was too slow. I just needed to deal with Suicune somehow, I think. I think my main focus was having ways to deal with Suicune because I needed that Tauros, and then I saw that Suicune set in the damage calc. I think it's the DOU set, which is in fact which is outsped by Metagross, max speed Metagross. So I already anticipated that it would be that set. So I figured Metagross would also be a pretty good way to deal with it, and I kind of needed Latias as a Zapdos answer and to boost the Metagross with Swagger to really put in the hurt against Suicune, and I needed Starmie, I guess. So I never even after game 1 I didn't even consider Gyarados Marowak really, because Gyarados just didn't really do much with Zapdos on his team, and Intimidate cycling was probably not worth it. And the Marowak just too slow and didn't do enough damage. Like with the lefties, it definitely would have never 2-hit KO'd Suicune either. So, and it didn't have a good way of hitting Zapdos because it's HP Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just find it amusing. Both of you make teams with Marowak, and you don't even use both of them. It's just the same 4 Pokemon from Nnico and the same 5 for Lhions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were actually very close team.
Yeah, very good teams from both sides, and very good play from both of you. But yeah, now that you are both done with Mount Battle 3, are you excited for Orre Cup 12?
I need a break.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, so both of you need a break. We could take a break. It'll probably be a few weeks before Orre Cup 12.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, it's going to be very fun because in the weeks leading up to it, now we have all these teams from Mount Battle 3 that players can test, and as the metagame develops, can put into practice in Orre Cup 12. I personally think that Lhions has shifted the metagame now. Suicune and Marowak just seem like such a powerful combo. And also, we've seen Registeel used multiple times, and we all hate that thing, that we're probably going to need to put in a turn limit on, so that way Orre Cup 12 doesn't turn into Registeel making every Swiss match. Yeah, because otherwise, every Swiss round is going to be like 50, 60 minutes long because of Registeel. We might have to put a turn limit.
Yeah, I mean, in Monty Battle, it's not really a problem because it's just 1/5 per day, and you can do it when you want.
Exactly.
So it's okay. It's a fast move anyway. It's advanced. But you want to do all the Swiss in one day and then the top 8, it's maybe a bit too much.
Yeah, you probably need a turn limit.
Something like that.
So that way, Registeel. So I actually wonder if Registeel can make it in Orre Cup 12. But we're seeing, again, a lot of metagame shifts. Again, thank you, Lhions, for proving the strength of Marowak Suicune. We have some very interesting team building from you, Nnico, too. And I'd like to say that just looking at the stats, I think Arcanine has proven itself just as strong as, say, Tauros or Starmie, or almost as strong. So, and Gengar's bad. People, Gengar's bad. I'm gonna keep saying this. Until somebody figures out an effective way to use Gengar that isn't just like, very matchup reliant, that actually like is consistent.
I think that the problem is that the people that were using Gengar were the players, and they were just splashing there because in the you have 6 months. So Gengar is always useful, and losing him most times is 1-for-1.
Yeah.
But it's not the same case here, and because they were splashing it without thinking in the team, it had the win rate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't just put Gengar on a team the way you do in Double OU as like as an explosion check, because you only get 4 Mons per battle, and then if you bring your Gengar and it doesn't do anything, then you lose. Or if you get Psychic by Starmie, you lose. Or if you get Psychic by Latias, you lose. Or if you get 1-hit KO'd by Metagross, you lose. So I want to see how Gengar can be very effective. I think Akiak is, one of the best users of Gengar so far, just threatening Explosion turn 1. But we'll see. So just looking at the metagame shift, we're looking at more Suicune, more Marowak, more Arcanine, probably less Gengar moving forward, especially in open team sheets, Orre Cup 12. So it's going to be great.
Yeah. I was considering Gengar just because I thought Lhions would think I would never bring Gengar, but
yeah, that's why I didn't just saw the one.
If you brought Gengar, the Snorlax can't touch it because Lhions, you don't have Shadow Ball. Which I actually agree with. I think even if you I think Snorlax really gets more coverage from just Earthquake than Shadow Ball. Because, if you can't hit Gengar, fine, you add another Pokemon on your team that hits Gengar. If you can't hit Metagross, that's a problem.
Yeah. Or Tyranitar or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, Earthquake is so important on lags. Yeah.
Yeah, so that way it doesn't get walled. I think I was making a belly drum set, and I did the calcs, and +6 Snorlax deals 80% to Metagross or Shadow Ball. It's really bad.
Yeah, I only use it when I drop Protect. If not, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the set.
Yeah.
It is getting late here, so I should probably go. But
Yeah.
do you have any final words from a runner-up and our champion?
I go first, or?
Yeah, sure. Nnico, you go first. And
Yeah.
then final words from the champion.
Amazing tournament. It was so much fun and also quite big. I'm surprised we got 24 people joining. That was amazing. We had 4 pools of 6. It was such a nice experience to first have that round robin, 5 different matches against 5 different people, and just being able to experiment and try out some stuff. And yeah, I'm really excited that there's more and more people also from the DOU community, just like Lhions, coming over, trying out the format, realizing that people here don't play Gengar, and it was so much fun. Though now I'm also happy that it's over, because every week I was like, I don't know, maybe I take this shit too seriously, but I was always putting so much thought into team building and all that, and I don't know, but I guess that's how I managed to reach finals. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and looking forward to the next season of Mount Battle, which will be another draft league. So that's going to be, in my opinion, even more fun than this one. And yeah, also looking forward to Orre Cup 12. I have no idea what I'm going to bring there, but we have a lot of new ideas now floating around. So yeah, I think the next few weeks and months are going to be a very fruitful time for meta development, and yeah, I'm curious to see what is going to win Orre Cup 12 after all this. And yeah, let's see if Registeel is in fact overpowered or not. It's definitely proving to be a problem for a lot of teams, and yeah, I think Alliance definitely showed how scary Registeel can be. And
yeah, but give out in a Swedish meta. You are gonna be Hassett before or after.
yeah, and yeah, so once again, congratulations to you, Lions, and please go ahead and say your last words.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for organizing this. It was pretty fun. Seeing how the meta was developing every week, at least in our pool. And yeah, it's time, like Nnico say, I think I'm going to stop playing it until the OC, because, well, I was playing at the same time this and the advanced those three for Hesmogon, so I'm gonna stop playing Advanced for a while and just play some current gen. And let's meet in the OT12s.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, thank you all for coming here to watch this Mount Battle 3 finals. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you to Mosquito for commentating also. Thank you very much for staying up late and getting bit by all those mosquitoes.